Hey guys, I'm Drago and I was supposed to be taking a break, but I decided to make a video anyway because I am stupid. Today we're doing another episode of the random Pokemon fusions. It was so fun doing the last one that I decided that I really wanted to do it again. I don't really care that the last video didn't do very well. This is just fun and I wanted to do it for fun. But yeah, basically I take some random Pokemon fusions and I make sprites for them. And this is for the game Pokemon Infinite Fusion, which is a fan game. It's really fun. I highly recommend going and checking it out. It'll be in the description. Not sponsored, not affiliated. But yeah, once again, I will go on the Fusion Dex website. I will click random and I'll see what I get. And then you guys can watch me making sprites for them. So yeah, I hope you all enjoy. Alright, here we are back on the Fusion Dex website. Once again, I'll just be clicking random and seeing what we get. And the one rule is that I don't do fusions that already have custom sprites because I don't want to step on someone else's art and it's just more fun to see the auto-generated ones. So here we go, time to click random and see what we get. Oh, wow. Oh, that's a cool one. How someone thought of something for that, that's really cool. Good job to Jolly, that's really good. Here we go, another one. Metaleon, okay, you know, that's not bad. I feel like that's doable. Yeah, I feel like I could do that one. Yeah, let's do it. So for this first one, I decided to use a custom base from Frozen Cinders. For all three of the fusions you see, I used a method where you take a base and you edit that to make the fusion. If you've got more complex fusions like the ones I ended up with, then this is definitely the way to go about it. And it is a valid method that is recognised by the devs, and as long as you credit the original base maker, and as long as that original base maker has said, yeah, you can use it, that's fine, then you can do it this way. So I started off by basically just taking Metang's claws, arms, whatever, and positioning them where I wanted them so that I can then use that to get the pixels right as well. Because I find while you can sketch in pixel art, it's so difficult to do because you don't have much difference in the sketch size and the line art size, and it all just kind of blends together and I find it complicated. So I always try to go straight into the lines straight away when I'm doing the spriting. Rarely will I sketch. That's usually when I'm doing something by complete scratch, like when I did the Sableye and Chico line. They were all from complete scratch, completely drawn from scratch with sketches that I scaled down to the right size and then drew back over. But yeah, otherwise I tend to use bases and I make sure I always credit the person who used the base, and I also make sure that they are given permission for that. If you're interested in spriting or you're interested in making some custom bases for people to use, you can join the Pokemon Infinite Fusion Discord server. All the spriting guidelines are there and how to join as a spriter is also there. I will leave a link to that in the description as well. But yeah, as usual, the general rule is you take the head of the Pokemon and put it on the body of the other one, and the Pokemon that is the head is the colour palette you use. So here, Metang's a head and I use Metang's colour palette. So basically I just decided to make it so Metang's head is sort of in the cloak part of Empoleon, and then the only other change I really made was the metal arms because I didn't know what else to do with this. Eventually I started adding some Metang spikes around. I edited it a little bit on the head to make it the sort of crown of Empoleon, and I added some on the arms and the legs as well, just to give it a bit more spice, you know. I always like to make things a bit different, a bit more unique than just slapping the head on the other Pokemon, you know. Sometimes I'll do that if it's like a really, really simple sprite, but things like this, I like to make it a lot more unique. With the lining done, I moved on to colouring, in which I use my technique that I always use, which is just do the base layer, select around the lines and erase the excess, and then you can use clipping masks. In general, my spriting process is the same as my usual art mostly. Do a sketch if needed, do the lines, do the flat colour, and then do the shading. I was originally going to make the tail like the spikes as well, but then I thought it was going to blend too much into the spikes that are right there. I was also going to keep a lot of it white with the colour of the white from Metang, but then I realised that there is red I can use because Metang has red on his eyes. So I decided to use the red for the feet and that sort of collar cloak bit that goes around him. Shading the sprites is a bit different to normal. And this is mainly because you have to shade the line art as well. Line shading is very important in the style of Pokemon, and this is basically where the lines aren't just black, they have different colours and shades to them to add to the general lighting and 3D effects of the sprite itself. It could be something that's very hard to get used to. In some of my earlier sprites, I'm not as good at it as I am now, but it definitely adds this extra dimension to the sprites, and it's really fun to learn how to do it and to get used to it. In general, spriting for this game is so fun. I love doing it. If I've got like a moment and like I want to draw but I don't know what to draw, then I will just make a sprite. I will go on the website, I will choose random and I'll make a sprite. Or if there's a sprite that I've had in mind for a while, which is mostly the Sceptile ones honestly because I love Sceptile, then I'll make that one. Yeah, I just find it really fun. But yeah, when I'm shading, I basically just use my reference a lot. I look at the official sprite because some of the sprites are officially from Game Freak, the actual games. This Metang sprite is one of the official ones from one of the official games. I think black and white, I might be wrong. And then you got the custom bases that people make themselves, which are in the style of Pokemon. So yeah, basically if you just look at these sprites, you reference them, you look at the official sprites while you're working, and then you can sort of get an idea of how the lining goes, and you can just do it, and then you can adapt it as you go. There is a lot of back and forth with this spriting, but it's still really fun. And if you want to get into pixel art, I honestly suggest maybe giving this a go, because where you've got a style to follow, it helps you learn about how sort of shadows and lines and stuff work in pixel art. It helps you learn about how you can make curves, how you can make something straight and slightly curved at the same time. It helps you realise how you can do sort of this anti-aliasing with the shades and stuff. It helps you learn about how you texture pixels, like here on Empoleon having the kind of feathery texture on one of the legs. It's a really sort of helpful thing. It's helped me learn a lot about pixel art. So yeah, if you want to learn about pixel art, maybe try give this a go. It's really fun. Alright, with that one done, it's time to move on to the next one. Let's see what we get. Rattata. Rattata. Oh, I gotta try to put Rattata and Groudon together. Are you serious? Oh no. What am I gonna do with this? Oh, this is gonna be a pain. Okay, well, we'll see what I can do. I was staring at this thinking, how the hell am I gonna put Rattata, the signature Pokemon of youngster Joey, with the big land monster itself, Groudon? So I went on the Discord server first and I searched for custom bases for Groudon, and I found this one and I thought, that works really well. With it being on all fours, that kind of really fits Rattata, and I thought maybe there is something I could do with this. So yeah, this custom base is from Hero Drawing. Big thanks to them, because this is the only way I could have been able to do this. And what I did from there is I took Rattata's head from the official Game Freak sprite, I sized it up to how it needs to be, and I basically drew over that, got the pixels correct. And then the rest of it was just kind of blending the two together. I almost just went straight into Rattata's ears when I realised that Groudon has these pointy bits on his head. And I thought, what if I flip those up? Like going, so they're going up rather than pointing down, and then that can wrap to the ears of Rattata while still retaining the bit of Groudon in there. So I did that and I thought it worked quite well. I also blended in the sort of head ridges of Groudon because it's nice to sometimes do the blend of the two heads. I said this in the last video, you don't always have to just outright slap the head of one Pokemon to the other one. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. You can mix and match, you can make it a bit more unique. As long as the general idea is there, it's fine. Doing these sprites is a great way to get creative. I also added Rattata's tail in there. I just added the rat tail on there, made it long, made it curl around, made it look like it's sort of tense in this pose it is in. Now, if you want to do long sweeping lines like this in pixel art, it is okay to just draw it how you would normally do if you're doing a normal line, as long as you go in and clean that up afterwards. It could be a great way to just guide yourself, and then as long as you clean it up, you get rid of the jaggies, as they call them, because sometimes if you try to do it pixel by pixel by pixel, it doesn't look quite right. It'll look sort of stiff and not natural. If you just draw it normally with that sweeping line, then clean up, you can get the more natural look. Surprisingly, Rattata's colours work actually quite well for Groudon. I still use the same colour for Groudon spikes that Groudon has, but the rest of it is Rattata colours and it actually works really well. I also added some extra little teeth in Rattata's mouth just to get a bit more of a Groudon feel. You could do this by just 1 pixel of white. It actually works quite well to make some little teeth. From there, it was just a lot of experimentation with how to get the two shading styles to blend. I did have to make some extra shades of purple to fit with Groudon because Rattata doesn't have the same amount of shades of the body that Groudon does in his red. So I made some extra shades of purple, but it was fine. It works. There is a colour limit to how many colours you can use in your sprites. If I'm not mistaken, it's 30 colours. I might be wrong, it might be a little bit less. So you can make some new shades as long as it works, but you mostly use exactly the colours from the sprites themselves, and it can't be over 30. I really closely followed Groudon base here just to make sure it all worked well, because Groudon is something I've not done before, and I find its design can be quite complex, especially in pixel style. So yeah, I followed the base quite closely here for both Groudon and Rattata. But it was still really fun, and I think it actually turned out really, really cool for like what it is. Like, you would not think putting Groudon and Rattata together would be cool, but I think it turned out quite cool. The last one for today, let's see what we get. Oninja? Oh, it's Onix and Shedinja. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. I think I could see a way I could possibly do that. Well, we'll see how this one goes. So our final one for the day is something that you really wouldn't think to put together, but it's one of those fusions that can work quite well regardless. So what I didn't want to do was just make it a stony Shedinja with Onix's head on the top of it. Again, I was going back to this sort of having some unique features. So I took Onix's head, but I also took the first rock of its body, and I decided to make that a neck of sorts. It just added some extra dimension to it. I almost thought about making it so the neck is really, really long, to have like a long neck and then Onix's head is far away, but then I thought that's just gonna look really weird, so I just added one boulder for the neck. And I also thought for the halo, I'll make it out of stone as well, because Onix has this bit that sticks up anyway, and I thought I could shape that to be like the halo of Shedinja. So yeah, while this is a really weird fusion, I still have quite a few ideas for it. Oh, and this Shedinja base is from Rattata, or Rattata. I'm sorry, I'm British. My instincts say starter. I'm sorry. Adapting Onix's head to the smaller size was quite difficult. There were less pixels to work with for something that's actually quite a detailed face, but I think I managed it. I did a lot of the detailing in the shading itself. I had to rely on that in hopes that it would still look like Onix, but I think I managed it. So here there's literally just like one colour. It's just Onix's grey. This sprite was going to rely a lot on its shading. Now Onix's shading is so complex. I was just looking at the official Game Freak sprite and I was thinking, what? But while it looks complex, it's actually really not that bad. If you think about the shapes of Onix's face, then it makes a lot more sense. Another thing I find that this spriting work is good for is helping you learn about shading and how lighting affects shapes. These sprites, because they are just 2D pixel art, they rely a lot on the shading to accentuate the shapes and give it this 3D look. And Onix is a really good example of that, with how his shading goes to really exaggerate the sort of bends and folds and ridges in his face. Doing this spriting work has really helped me learn how shapes can affect how the lighting looks. Shadows don't just go on the dark bit and highlights don't just go on the light bit. I mean, they do. That's a really bad way of explaining it. But I mean, you don't just follow the lines with your shading. A mistake a lot of new artists make is they only put the shadows on the bottom of the character and they only put the highlights on the top, or wherever the light is coming from, that is. And they don't really think about the 3D-ness of the shape they're making. So when shading, really try to think about the shape of the character or the object or whatever you're drawing. Think about what will stick out more and what will therefore have a highlight on it. And then in turn have a shadow where the light isn't hitting because this thing is sticking out and blocking a bit of the whatever, the face. Like a nose, basically. The nose will stick out, therefore the light will hit it, and then there will be a shadow where the light isn't hitting because the nose is blocking that part. Yeah, just think about the 3D-ness of the shapes of what you're drawing. There's lots of tutorials out there to help you with that. This shading took me the longest because it's more complex shading. A lot of it was in the lines as well. There was a lot of variation in the line colour, but I just had to think about it in the same way that I was thinking about the general shading. The darker parts of the line is just dark grey. The really dark parts is black. The parts where I need to separate some colours a bit more is also black. And where the light's hitting is a lighter grey. Once again, I was really following Game Freak's Onix here. I needed that reference because this was a complicated one. But overall, I think I got the general vibe of it correct. Let me know down below, do you think I got it correct? Do you think this looks like Onix's shading? But yeah, after like a long time trying to figure this out, I got it done. Alright, there are another 3 Pokemon Infinite Fusion sprites. Let me know down below which one is your favourite one. I actually can't decide this time. I'm actually torn between the Shedinja Onix and the Rattata Groudon. I like both of them, but I think I'm leaning towards Rattata Groudon because you just wouldn't expect that to work, but it does. Anyways guys, thanks for watching. This is just a quick little video because like I said, I was planning to have a break, but literally yesterday I decided to make this video, so I just wanted to get something out for you guys. I love you all and I wanted to make sure you're all entertained, you all have a good day, you all are happy, and yeah. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, maybe subscribe and leave a like. I'd really appreciate it. Hit that bell icon for notifications of when I do upload. And I hope you all had an amazing Christmas and great holidays. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!